there was an MP, an an Arab MP or a Muslim MP who pleaded with the parliament, the members, so that they don't vote on a ban on interbreeding. Because
What the?
What?
yeah, oh yeah, because in that community, you're allowed, go marry your first cousins and stuff, and they want to put a ban on that. Yeah.
Wait a minute, wait a minute.
Wow.
So you're allowed to marry your first cousin, or you're not allowed to marry your first
Well,
cousin?
Right, right.
yeah, they are, but in the UK, they want to put a ban on that, because
Oh, okay. So
I
now,
thought it was already banned.
apparently not. It's not in Kentucky or Alabama. So
Yeah.
now they want to. So it's only
Yeah.
it's going to be banned
Or
elsewhere.
in sort of certain very German orientated villages in Argentina.
Yeah, that's why
There you
John's
go.
going to go
Yeah.
visit Nazi gold.
Yeah.
We won't see. Listen, everybody. This is John's. We haven't even started the show, but this is John's last show for the year. He won't be back until
Yeah.
February
Right.
because
I
one, he's
just,
going to go marry his cousin, and two, he's looking for Nazi gold. So there
Yeah.
you go. So it should
it's
be very
it's a
interesting.
sad day for the UK, I must say. It's just a.
When is it ever a happy day for the
Good day
UK?
for
I don't
the
know.
Oh boy.
I'm just
Only when
wondering, what the hell is
only when the
Churchill
Spice Girls
thinking?
come out.
He's rolling in the grave. It's
He's
seeing
rolling somewhere.
Yeah.
All right.
I
You know what we
mean,
should do for
Sorry.
fun, kids? Just be John. This is an honor of you since it's your
Yeah.
last show of
Yeah.
Start the
2024.
show. Start
There,
the
there's
show.
an idea.
This is 2OF Entertainment.
Welcome to the Lost Dollar Business Club, where we talk about business, 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 and not just business. We talk about what makes businesses go up and what makes businesses go down. If you're interested in businesses, this is where it is. We talk about the global economy. We talk about global politics. We talk about everything and anything business related that affects your life on a global scale as well as a local scale. And don't miss after the show, Lost and Found. We're back, kids. We have a couple more shows, and then the end of the year is here. This is John's last show for 2024. He'll be back in 2025.
He'll be missed. He'll be missed.
Just stop it. Don't do that, because we're not going to even talk
Are you
about it.
coming
No
back
one's gonna
after
care.
the 20th of John? After the 20th of January? Because they won't let you in, mate, if you come back after that. You have to
Yeah.
sneak in.
Oh, right.
Climb over a wall somewhere.
Yeah, I've got my wetsuit and my ninja outfit, to come through the
Yeah, but
southern
we're
border.
talking about what you do other than the
At
weekend.
nighttime in cosplay. Yeah. We're not talking about your cosplay
Yeah.
with your wife. So,
Right,
all right.
right.
So listen, this is, I thought today, since we don't really have topics or we don't have guests, I figured it'd be fun for all of us to kind of pick a couple stories out of the news, which I thought was interesting. So I want to start with one of John's favorite places, China. I know.
Yes.
And there was an article in The Economist this week, and there's a gentleman from one of the universities, and he said that the tariff that Trump keeps talking about on China is all BS. Because if you realize, on Monday, Trump made a statement that said if you want to invest $1 billion or more in America, that he will let you, no matter if you're a company or a government, and he will help you push it through. So this gentleman's hypothesis is that Trump made the tariff threat because he wants Chinese businesses to invest in America. What do you think of that?
Yeah. Well, that would be a turn of
Next
events.
story.
Yeah, no, there's more
Yeah,
more plastic toys for everybody then.
We're
Okay.
speechless. Yeah,
I'm sorry?
we're speechless, right?
I'm not speechless. I think that's a brilliant idea. I told everyone we need to learn Mandarin, and
Right. You did say it. You did say
yeah,
it.
so
That's
our overlords
my-
are coming.
You know
How that
second
works, right?
language.
They promise somebody will promise to do it. They'll purchase a piece of land, and then 5 years later, no,
Well, Trump will still be president in 5 years, John, so it won't matter. I mean, like,
Yeah.
he's not going anywhere. Like, there's going to be no election in 2008. I'm just saying. So,
Yeah.
with the PayPal mafia now involved with the government, if you look at everybody that's going to help clean up the U.S. government, it's all PayPal mafia guys. From Thiel to Musk, all these guys, they're all involved with PayPal. So you've got
He's
that.
bringing back the band.
Yeah, right. You're bringing back, a guy with a mustache that goes hi. But
Yeah.
if you look at what's going on, In 2008, I don't know if there's going to be an election. I'm just saying. But anyway, I thought the
Is
Chinese
that his third
hypothesis was
term
good.
then in 2008?
Oh, 2008. There won't be an election because it won't be safe because there'll be fake news, there'll be fake elections, and blah 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 blah. And if the economy is doing so well and everybody's become now multi-billionaires in America, they're
Nobody's
not
gonna
going to want the
care.
dictator to leave. Yeah, I mean, if they're like, sure, let him stay. Who the hell cares?
Yeah.
Okay.
And you'll have no freedom.
Well,
But
FDR was a three-termer.
three-termer. Yeah, he was a three-termer. So, but that
Yeah.
they needed, I guess, during the war, and that was a specific thing. We're not at war yet. Yeah, it's not the 20th of January. But it'll be interesting to see what happens. I'm excited about it. So, yeah. But I thought that
Yeah.
was an interesting hypothesis
Well,
on
yeah.
China and Trump, because he made
He
that
was
speech. And then,
invited. Didn't he invite Xi to his inauguration?
Xi is coming. Yeah, he wants him to
Yes.
hang out and party and fist bump and everything. So,
Yes,
yeah, the
yes.
panda's coming.
That's big.
Yeah, it's big. And then the other thing which I thought was really cool, I was going to use this for lost and found, but since we're talking about Xi and Trump, Mark Zuckerberg's Meta, better known as Facebook, has given $1 million to the Trump party, the inauguration party. They gave them $1 million. Listen, you got to suck up now because the dictator's coming.
It's in his name, isn't it? Zuckerberg.
Zuckerberg, yeah.
Oh no.
Yeah.
Amazing how all these guys that were completely against Trump,
Now love him.
Nazi,
Yeah.
Right.
Yes, Stephen.
misogynistic guy,
voting
every
in
insult that you could throw at him. All of a sudden now, they're
They're not
calling-
censored articles, positive articles about him.
yeah.
Well,
censorship.
while you're all doing that in the US, I mean, here in Europe, they're now talking about that we're at war with the Russians. So the rhetoric now from Mark Rutte, who used to be the Dutch Prime Minister, who's now the chairman of NATO, is saying, well, like guys, you have to get water in the house, get your batteries, get your whole emergency stuff. We can't dig cellars here, of course, because we'll be underwater. Anyway, I've got an ark in mind. But so what's happening here is that he's telling everybody, oh, we're all going to be at war. And I said to Annette last night, I says, it sounds like he's trying to put as much sugar into Mr. Trump's cup of coffee as he possibly can. Mm-hmm. He's scaring the crap out of everybody in Europe so that they'll put their defense budgets up so that when Trump comes to power, they'll be able to say, well, look, we're doing our best, Mr. Trump. Please don't leave us.
Yes.
I mean, maybe it's a nice boost to the European economy, and if everybody starts,
Well, yeah, I mean,
buying up in fear of, fear
Just
buying.
remember, war stimulates economy. So, we're still kind of in a depression from 2008. A good world war, man. The economy will pick right up. We'll get out of that depression like they did in the 30s. They got out of the depression, the 1929 depression. They got out of in the early to late 50s because of World War II and the Korean. Yeah. So we just need a war, and then it'll be great. It's going to be beautiful.
Yeah, we might end up like the roof at Notre Dame, nicely burnt.
Yeah.
We might end up being with a world war. Yeah.
But they can't do anything else in France, but they can rebuild a cathedral.
Yeah.
Which was quite remarkable. Everything else is all gone to pot, but.
Yeah. Well, it's Europe. Welcome to Europe. Well, here, let's on another pleasant note that I saw this week, and then you guys tell me your stories. I thought this was the best story. This one just made me go, oh, this is going to be great. So you remember 2008, for those people that don't, when, basically the world collapsed because
the
Wall
music
Street got
stopped.
greedy. Yeah, something like that. So here's, just so you're aware, Wall Street's complex debit bonanza has its fastest pace since 2007 is now. Banks are selling bonds and they're backed by revenue from chicken wings, music catalogs, oil wells, and they've gone back to doing crazy mortgage financing. The global volume this year for transactions has hit $380 billion. This is data according from SEG. They're just talking from real estate, traditional corporate loans and figures, and the numbers just keep going up and up and up. And the article basically says at the end, the structured finance was born into Wall Street. It's very nice, yada, yada, yada. But at the end of the day, they said, we are not able to handle this. Structured deals linked to more arcanic concerns have already risen 50% this year. And that's over 2023. It's $63 billion, according to JP Morgan Chase. And the debt default rates have risen. The Federal Reserve boss have come down. I mean, like, there's nothing positive in this article. It's basically saying we're going to have another 2008 sometime in the next 2 years. So there you go. Now, the question I have, too big to fail or not too big to fail? What will Mr. Trump do? And that is going to be very interesting to see.
Because nobody paid the price last time.
That's correct. So this year, this is how he gets his revenge on everybody or not? I think that's going to be an interesting thing.
He'll flip it all to cryptos. And pay it all. I'll pay the debt off.
Well, but now you got to worry about quantum computers. Google, with their Willow chip, was solved a massive problem in 5 minutes.
Can I tell you?
I'll be done.
Euro had that done 8 months ago. Everything that Google's doing today, Euro already did. And the only thing that Google said that I thought was interesting is that with their chip, they found multiple universes.
Yeah, that was interesting, right?
And I thought that was very cool.
In the announcement that
they found multiple universes.
That could be evidence that there's a multiverse and we're in it.
Yep. I thought that was very cool. But what they've already done, Euro's already done ahead of them by 8 months and patented.
I mean, that's big. We got to have them. So let's get them out there.
So you're gonna give all of us, panelists here, shares in Hero as
yeah.
I'm sorry, John, we have a really bad connection right now. Anyway,
sure.
Yeah, I'm sorry, John, but it would appear we're living in an alternative universe.
That's right. You're living in a matrix, John.
Alternative universe.
It's an alternative universe. Listen, I just want to say this because I'm humble like this. I'm going to crush everybody on the way up and continue it, and that's how I look at it. But anyway, so I thought that was interesting. Yeah. The too big to fail and all this new structuring. And it's like, we haven't learned our lesson. And I'm just wondering now what Trump's going to do about it. I read the stuff on Google, which is fascinating to an extent, but they're 10 years away. Hero is a year away. Big difference.
So, all right.
Yeah. And Euro, you can use your computer that you're using right now. And Google, you have to have a special computer, that's going to fill a room, so to speak, to be able to use it. With Hero, you use your present technology. You don't switch out.
So
the problem is,
can I use this Hero?
We can talk off air, but there's a lot of people knocking at the door now that want to do something. So,
all right. Send me those shares quickly, then.
Yeah, okay. That's right. Get them in.
You can. We can talk off air about that too.
It's nearly Christmas. I mean, you know what I mean? We could. Yeah. That'd be nice. It'd be a nice Christmas present, wouldn't it?
Yeah, definitely.
I'm Jewish. I celebrate Hanukkah, and the pagan holidays that you boys believe in, I could care less about. I'm sorry. Yeah. And my only one God, and we all know this, I've talked about it. I bow to Mecca 5 days or 5 times a day. That's the Federal Reserve in New York. I'm sorry. So that is the true God, and that's it. That's the only God there is on the planet.
Speaking of that,
as Church of England, I can forgive you for such blasphemous statements.
Well, the Church of England is benefiting very well from Wall Street these days, so I wouldn't worry.
Benefiting very well from Wall Street these days. This is crazy.
No, I mean, going back to this idea of we're in a pre-2008 situation.
Oh,
right? Yeah. Well, I mean, the wealth transfer, the greatest wealth transfer in history, has happened over the past few years, and I think everybody knows that, and nobody knows what to do about it. I don't even think Trump knows what to do about it.
Mr. Musk does, because he's gone up 700%. I read this morning. He's now worth 400 billion. First person ever. Yeah,
I saw an article the other day that said that he's worth like 400 billion, because I want to say Tesla went up, and I think rocket ships went up. So I think a lot of his stuff and crypto is going up because
375 billion.
Here's what's interesting though. when the collapse happens because of Wall Street's greed, because greed is good apparently.
Yeah.
My question is going to be: A, are we going to bail them out again? B, is someone going to jail this time? Probably no. And C, if we don't bail them out, what happens?
Well, they make a movie, Stephen. That's what
Yeah.
happens.
No, I'm being serious. Like crypto is
Oh,
great.
so am I.
So
You
is
know,
it, or is this
that's
going to be
not
the
the
case
difference.
now where the government's going to go, okay, now we're going to use the new digital crypto for the US government? Like the US government already has their own digital and their own crypto. Trump has his own exchange now. There's an article in the FT talking about who's going to benefit when Trump becomes president, like the kings of crypto, that of course all back Trump. So now the question is, how is that really going to play out? You know what I mean? So it's going to be a very interesting 2025 if the banks
Pay everybody
implode.
off in crypto.
Well,
Pay
no,
everybody
because
off.
how are you going to bail? Are you going to bail out the people this time? Like Silicon Valley Bank was bailed out because all the billionaires had their money there. But if normal people had their money there, Silicon Valley Bank would have just folded up. Everyone would have got their FDIC insurance, which is 100, 200 grand, and you're screwed. But because all the billionaires and all of Silicon Valley had their money there, they were like, "Oh no! We have to make the bank whole." So, are we going to? If J.P. Morgan fails again, if Bank of America fails again, if corporate America fails again, like in 2008, is this administration? And I don't know. I'm just asking.
Or maybe
are they going to be like, are we're going to fix it? No, because what happens to people then that have money and that you don't, like some guy say he has 5 million in the bank. He only gets 250 back. What happens? What are you going to do? Like that was his thing. So you will create more poverty if you don't help than if you'll then putting the debt on the balance sheet to help.
Luckily, most average people don't have 5 million in the bank to lose.
No, they have 500 million, a billion, or whatever. But I'm just saying. So what happens then?
Well, it happens.
Even if America has $1 million.
Same thing that happened to that executive from the health company. Someone will go and shoot a whole load of people. That seems to be
that's an interesting topic to talk about.
Yeah, but that seems to be the way people are. By all accounts, he was a very well paid guy, but he wasn't at the top of the tree. But easy to find. Somebody shot him, and I think that's what's going to happen. Lots of people are going to get shot. If it all goes tits up again, then having sort of people got so much pain the first time round, and certainly the generation now that we're in, if they can't get they won't be able to buy a cup of coffee. So that'll be the first thing they'll all be, stressed out, can't buy coffee because coffee's going to cost like $20 a cup,
right?
And they'll start shooting executives of companies as a way of showing their displeasure.
Well, I joked a little. I kind of joked, but I was kind of serious about, like when the masses get upset, they're going to come after people. I said that a few weeks ago and a few months. I've been saying that for months.
Yeah. Well, it's true.
And so this gentleman got upset, for lack of a better term, and took it out. Here's the interesting thing. I read an article that somebody said, but it was the way the guy has a PhD or whatever from whatever school he has in Pennsylvania. Like he went to a real school, has a smart guy, and they go, and they said, really, he was found at a McDonald's with his manifesto and the actual weapon, and now the conspiracy theory people are like, nope, he's the patsy. He's the James Earl, whatever his face is, that shot Kennedy patsy. They're going, that's not the guy who actually did it. They go, because he was found in a McDonald's in Altoona, and the girl won't recognize him from his eyebrows. And I looked at the picture that the police had shown, in the New York Times, and I'm like, I wouldn't recognize him by his eyebrows. In fact, this part of his face looks much different than the guy they're saying that did it. So there's conspiracy theory now. People are saying that the patsy and the real person got away.
Well, just kind of on a slight tangent, I did share it this week with a few people. Have you seen these lifelike masks that you can buy made out of a nylon? They're almost like so you just pull this thing over your head, and you're instantly your superhero who you want to be. But it would appear that the company itself also enables you to have a face of your choice printed on these masks. So maybe that's a way of getting around face recognition, but it's pretty scary stuff. That You just pull this thing over. If you can't, you find it. It's all over the internet if you have a look for it. But pretty scary stuff.
Interesting.
So yeah, that's a
When
way
are
of.
you going to take off the mask, David? When are you
No,
going to
no,
take?
but it's. Hold on.
Lose your people.
But it's made out of the same material that I think that they make tights and stockings from. So you just and it's printed on that as well. So you pull it over your face, so your eyes are active and your mouth is active and your nose is active, and it just hugs you completely. And it's pretty scary stuff.
But basically, someone printed a mask of this kid, did the deed,
Yeah.
and then took the mask off, and now we'll never see him. There you go. Well, that's great. What else we got, guys? What other cool stories from 2004 are there that we can discuss to get the public all excited about?
Well, I mean, this is more nerd news from my favorite Bloomberg.
Right.
Look, Apple is you know that Apple keeps making its own chips, and it's doing really well in making its own systems on it, system on a chip. And now they're going to make their own chips for Bluetooth and Wi-Fi.
Cool.
So for the iPhone, so that's another effort for them to take away from. I think Broadcom is
all the money they lost with the stupid glasses that they can't sell. So
well, that's right. They stopped that, but maybe a new version's coming out, new cheaper version, maybe.
Yeah.
We'll see. But I mean, I just see that as another. Apple is just completely. They have the resources to completely recreate the supply chain, so that they don't have to rely on anyone but this, but Apple. And this is just one more effort in that. Should it be, should people be worried about it? I mean, Apple just keeps developing generally devices that are somewhat cutting edge. So, maybe
why would you worry? Why would you worry about this?
It's another elitist
It's just the end of the world.
So long as the Chinese don't bomb Taiwan, they'll be okay, right? Because
that's true.
They don't have their own fab, as they say. They don't build the actual chip; they design it, and then they give the design to.
That's true.
What's it? Taiwan Semiconductor, probably.
That's right.
To build it.
TSMC. Yeah.
Yeah. So there's a little bit of a, I don't know if a risk there, but
it is. But
maybe if Intel could do it for them, but I don't know that Intel would want to do it.
Intel can't do squat anymore. Intel's a dinosaur. They're done.
Well, that's the other news. Intel, now they're going to split off their manufacturing arm. The rumor is they're going to split off the manufacturing from the design, and hope that can save the ships by separating them.
I don't know how that can,
Intel is done.
How is that going to help? I'm wondering. Yeah. It's just.
It sounds good, doesn't it? If you can't do good, you have to be seen to be doing good. That's how it works.
Yeah, split it up, do something, right?
Yeah.
To make it look like you're doing something to solve the issue.
Right.
That's right. So it means that people like us are talking about it. So so it must be a good thing.
I wonder really what is the issue at Intel? Why are they?
They went to sleep, I think, and the world took over. I think that's basically it.
I mean, why are they incapable of manufacturing advanced chips?
Yeah.
And why are they not innovating? I mean, they really fell very far behind. And
maybe they just sat on their laurels, right? Expecting that. But I don't know. I mean, it's a pretty competitive industry. It seems. Maybe the top wasn't being run by engineers and more Excel jockeys, sort of like Boeing, right? Boeing,
Boeing, the guy gets $38 million a year, and they keep losing airplane doors. So it goes. I work for the shareholders. You apparently don't work for the customers that fly your plane, pal.
But what it's interesting is, I'm pretty sure that the decline started when they moved their headquarters from Washington State to Chicago, of all places, the mother of all badly run places. and then they shifted. Of course, they wanted cheaper labor, so they also opened a factory in South Carolina.
Right.
So, yeah, they They
Yeah,
just went,
sounds like it's been run by an accountant there.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
I think they got, you know what it is? Some companies get fat and happy. And like at one point, remember, Xerox was the world's biggest, largest, and they were the $1 trillion company back in the day. And they just kind of lost touch. They got fat and happy, and their technology just kind of went away, and that was it. If it now people go Xerox, people are like, what's Xerox? Like they don't even remember Xerox. And
Yeah.
IBM too. They just get fat and happy, and they're like, look how good we are. And instead of innovating, they're just like, oh, we have profit, we have this, and they rest on their laurels and their name. Apple right now isn't doing that, so I give them credit. But Xerox and IBM were also around 100 years, so they kind of lost touch. And I'm assuming the same is going to happen with Apple. There's going to be an upstart at some point that's going to beat Apple. So at some point we're going to be like, boom.
We'll be talking about pairs as opposed to apples then.
yeah. Vlad, the same thing with Kodak. Do you remember Kodak?
Kodak, sure. They used to be a company.
Yeah.
Yeah, and now they've completely disappeared.
Polaroid.
Well,
Yeah.
haven't they come back with the idea that Polaroid, exactly, Polaroid has come out because people like that old school.
They
Yeah,
do have,
people like-
you can't buy a camera now. I think it is from them that you can do the old Polaroid.
Yeah.
They
Yeah.
bought
Love them.
Polaroid, I
People
think.
It's got a
love it.
niche. It's got a niche.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
it's fun for parties and stuff. Like they do those photo booths at parties, and it goes to your phone, and you can get the pictures. And you're like, oh, cool. And I'm just like, okay. What really bothers me about all of this is like when you're out and people are on their phone going, yeah. I'm like, be in the moment.
Right. Be in the
But I
moment.
want to take a picture of it. I'm like, who gives a shit? Like, be in the moment. Have the picture here because
Yeah.
apparently, unless you post it,
Didn't
you're not
happen.
in the moment. Yeah, and I'm like, this is bullshit. Like, I don't take pictures of squat. And the only time I take a picture of anything is if we're smoking cigars because I have to post it for the cigar stuff. And other than that, I don't take pictures of. I can't be bothered. I want to live in the moment and enjoy the moment, not.
Yeah.
Oh, by the way, let me take 9,000 pictures because people I don't
know,
know need to see it.
Who is the artist on stage at a concert actually telling people to get off their phones because they were all recording him?
Yeah.
And he had to scold the audience to say, get off the phones.
Well, I'm going to talk about something really old school now. So you may not have seen it, but this week was the 40th birthday of the world's oldest bond. 400 years ago bond. 400 years ago on New Year's Day in 1624, a drifting piece of ice on the River Lek in the Netherlands smashed into a dike outside Utrecht.
A lesbian.
It was a pretty big problem because, as you all know, Holland is about 1/3 under sea level.
Oh, I thought the dikes were a problem.
The region got flooded.
Yeah.
Amsterdam got threatened, and the locals managed to stop the flood, but they wanted to rebuild everything, but they didn't have the money.
Yeah.
But the Dutch being the Dutch, they came up with an idea. They developed one of the first bonds for the bond market. And the local water authority called Hooggraadschap Dijk Bovendam.
Easy for you to say.
Easy to say. They sold 50 bonds and they raised about 23,000 guilders of old money.
Yeah.
But what happened was that these bonds they've survived and they've been around since 1624.
Wow.
And they belong to a woman called Ilskind Josdotter.
Okay.
But she actually passed her bonds on, or her family did, their bonds on to the New York Stock Exchange. And two representatives this week came to Holland to pick up the interest on the bonds because the bond is €13.61 per year.
Yeah.
But both the New York Stock Exchange and the bondholder had lost the original pieces of paper, but they now managed to find it.
Yeah.
And they collected €299.43 in interest on the world's oldest bond, 400
Very
years
cool.
old.
Well
That's,
done.
that's a great story. Very cool.
Well
Wow.
That's a
done.
good story,
So
my
why
friend.
is it? Why is the bond still?
Yeah,
What is
why
it?
do you call
because
it a
they
bond?
signed it. They signed it in perpetuity. Is that right? Is
Oh,
that
they're
what I'm reading?
Okay.
Yeah.
they're perpetual bonds. Okay.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
That
So
is
we had
funny.
they had these two
That's
guys that came from the New York Stock Exchange because they had
Yeah.
officially come in person to receive the money, and they paid them all out in coins.
Yeah.
291. Yeah, big event, big TV event here.
Yeah.
Okay.
So there you go. The world's
Why-
oldest bond.
So the bonds are traded in the New York Stock Exchange?
They belong now. This one particular bond now had moved on, and the New York Stock Exchange itself had become owner of this bond.
They're probably going to put it in. They're going to probably put it in Wall Street, John. They're probably going to put it in their little museum,
Yeah.
so they can go look. We have a bond from 1600s, so people
Oh,
can
yeah,
see it when
yeah.
they walk
It
through.
still
That's
pays
a-
that interest.
still
Yeah.
pays
Still
us
pays
like
interest, yeah.
13 euro a year. Yeah, that's wild. Very
Yeah.
cool. That's a good feel good story out of all the
Yeah,
stuff we've been
feel-good story.
talking about.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know?
Just that,
Well, here let me
system
go back to
still
the
works.
Google Willow story though about multi-universe. Not that they're antiquated technology and they're behind these other companies, but they're Google, so they have to get news, and everybody else, doesn't. But what's the what do we think about this multiverse that they said there's possible other multiverses out there? What do we think about that?
Well, let me
I've been living in one for
consult my
years.
quantum computer and
Yeah.
I'll tell you in a second.
That in 10 years, so you
Yeah.
can do that. What do you think, John? You're going to go hunt Nazi gold. What do you think about it?
Well, look, I'm sure there are other universes.
Right.
It means, John,
Wow,
that you could
sure.
be in New York in your apartment and in Argentina at the same time.
Hunting Nazi
Yeah.
gold.
Yeah.
There you go.
Well, geez, I think it's beyond our comprehension anyway. It doesn't really matter, does it? I mean,
I don't know if it's beyond our
here in this
comprehension. I
little
think people
world.
can comprehend it. I just think, do you believe it?
Yeah, I believe
like
there's
let me
other
give you this one.
universes.
I give
Why
you this
not?
one.
Wow.
I read a book the other day. I'm very proud of myself. Thank you. It had no pictures, and so my
Was
crayons
that
went
in
to
an alternative universe, Stephen?
It was an alternative universe. I didn't have my crayons, so I couldn't draw on it. But I read this guy's hypothesis on the flat Earth theory. And I'm like, okay. I mean, I thought it'd be interesting because people are talking about flat Earth, and I'm like, let me read it and just see. So some of the questions he
makes
brought up,
sense.
I've always had questions, just my questions without knowing their hypothesis. Like, why can't you fly this way and you have to fly that way? And why can't you do this? And things about like the moon or the sun. And I thought, this is interesting. Now, do I think the Earth is flat? No. But then when you read, he had Admiral Byrd's diary in there, and it talked about what he found. And I'm like, interesting. So to me, there's always something behind something. So I was like, it was just very fascinating. So when you start talking about multiverses in the universe, who are we to say? And I haven't been to the moon. So who am I to say, does the moon ring like a bell when you go? And even though the astronauts said that, and who's to say, did we really send something to Mars? I don't know. Did Tesla really send their little rocket car out with the space guy in it, or is it in a studio? Don't know. You just take it on faith, right? So I just found it interesting when they say we're in a multiverse. So now what people are really saying is we're not real. Think about it. If we're living in a multiverse,
or maybe we're all real, all of us across all dimensions.
Right. So are we real, or are we just a creation of X? So that's where the fascination when they said there could be multiple universes.
We're all brought about by lack of alcohol and drugs. I think that's the reason. We need to have
There's no lack of alcohol or scotch here, my friend.
You have to have a bit of both, I think, really.
Yeah,
it's interesting.
It is fascinating.
Interesting. Yeah.
I just thought it was cool because I would love to have somebody on the show, a flat earther, but not some crazy flat earther. I want one. There's a couple scientists out there that are really into this. I would love to have one of them come on and just explain the theory. The one about when you fly, the one of them showed the Google thing that flew around, and he says, when you get to the Antarctic, you can't fly. You can't go over it. You have to do all these other things. So
there's a big door they found. That's the
right.
thing.
That's what the book is saying. And I'm like, and when I was a kid and I would see flights of planes, I'm like, well, why can't you just do this? The other thing which I still find fascinating, and I'm sure some scientists can explain to me, is that if we're really traveling at 14 or 26,000 miles, whatever, doing this every day,
yeah,
why is it when I jump, I land in the same spot? I understand gravity, or why when a helicopter goes
but
up
you don't.
and comes
You
down,
don't
you're
land
in the
it.
same spot, right? So that's still, I want that explained in more detail to me. So little
Well, you're
things
not
like
in the
that, I'm like,
same
okay,
spot.
I've always
You're
You're not
asked
in the
these
same spot.
questions. So, you know,
Well,
I
that's
thought
it.
that was cool.
Inertia.
I
You're
know,
not in the
I
same
understand
spot.
all that, but why don't when we rotate, why don't the ponds and the lakes and the streams go like the ocean? They just stay flat. In
Right.
theory, they should do something as well, you know. And I was like,
No, it's a bit
so
like
I
it's a bit
always
like the
thought of,
carnival ride, isn't it? Where everybody gets
yeah,
on and gets pushed to the middle or pushed
yeah.
to the outside.
So in my mind,
Some physics
when I'm
that
reading this,
explains
I'm like,
all of
I
that.
always thought these,
We
I
need
always
a
think of these
physicist.
questions. I need like, right, but I think of these questions, and I'm like, well, I don't know who to ask. Like Neil Tyson Grayson, whatever his name is, not coming on our show. So I'm like, I'll take a flat earther just to hear as way out as it may be, because I'm just curious about it. And then if we can get a scientist to come on and explain it,
Yeah.
okay. But I'm always fascinated by that. So when I read the article about the multiverses, I'm like, okay. Like, I'm not saying there is or isn't. I have no idea.
But the fact that they
Why
put it
not?
in there, the fact that
Yeah.
Google put it in there was a big deal.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
Well, they're probably going to put a patent on it, like so.
Multiverse,
So
yeah, I'm
is,
sure they're going to put a patent on the multiverse.
yeah, so there'll be a patent. There'll be a patent. It's a bit like Joe Biden and his pardon, isn't it?
That's right.
But like
That's
things
right.
that could have happened, would have happened, may happen,
Yeah.
whatever. So this patent is relevant to the universe that we're living in now, or any other universe that we discover between now and when Mark Zuckerberg discovers another universe.
Yeah, Biden has just done another 1,500 pardons.
Yep.
Oh my God.
Yeah, that was yesterday, or yesterday was in
He's contemplating
are they all turkeys?
Pardons.
He's going to contemplate. He wants to pardon people that haven't been charged yet because they're afraid that Trump is going to go after like Stiff and all these other guys. So he's about to pardon another, I want to say 20,000 between federal employees, senators, congressmen, and just everybody. I'm thinking, Trump, why don't you just pardon? I mean, Biden, why don't you just pardon everybody who's ever been convicted of anything? Just get it over. I mean, like, just sign, just.
And they won't, and they won't tell. He wouldn't tell you. There's no list of who these pardons are.
Right, you can't find it.
You can't find it.
You're not even getting a letter apparently that you've been pardoned. Like you're not even getting the letter that says you've been pardoned. Usually, when they pardon,
they just send you the Spotify link with, I beg your pardon.
Yeah,
we
never promised you a rose garden.
Yeah. That's all you get. You think so? I've got to sing this song now. Yeah, sing this song. Run around the tree 3 times naked, and it's all fixed.
Ooh, I should ask for a pardon for not paying my taxes.
Right, that was
my
that was Timothy Geithner. That was the U.S. Treasury Secretary way back when he didn't owe $200,000 in taxes, became the Treasury Secretary, and before he become it, he had to pay off the tax. So I want to say I think he was a Democratic contributor paid his taxes for him so he could become Secretary of the Treasury.
Oh yeah, Geithner, right?
Geithner, that's what I said. Tim Geithner.
Geithner. Wow.
Yeah, that's Geithner.
Don't you just love politics? They just they make it up as they go along.
Blatant. It's so blatant now.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now it's just in your face.
Yeah. Well, and you know what? I listen. As much as we complain about the Orange Man, it's going to be great for Saturday Night Live next year. I think some of what's going to happen is going to be like back in the day when Disney didn't have one where you had to pay. You bought tickets like A, B, C, D, and E was the best ticket, E-tickets. This is going to be like the E-ride in the old Disney World. You're going to go and just is going to be like, wow, this is going to be the ride of a lifetime. And then there's going to be points where you're going to be like, oh my God, we're at the brink of destruction. So I think it's going to literally ebb and flow like, whatever your favorite movie is that gives you the highs and the lows. I think the next 4, 8, 20, however many years he stays. And that's what it's going to be like. So I think just hold on to it. And I think, unfortunately, to what David said earlier about the gentleman who got shot in New York for United Healthcare, I don't think that's the last of it. I think if things don't change in the next, say, 6 to 18 months, I think that is going to be like school shootings in America. I think it's going to be the norm, unfortunately. I think the public's getting fed up.
I think the public is long fed up, long past.
Yeah, and I think they're just, they're like, screw it. I got nothing. I don't care. And I think that's going to be the issue.
when the super well, I was talking with someone about this. I mean, when you think about it, when the super wealthy have captured every institution of government, of every institution of media, of every institution of business, then what's the other recourse? What other recourse do average people have?
La guillotine, I think.
Yeah.
Well, and that's the concern, I think. So I'm hoping, and I was talking about this with someone yesterday, when Kennedy comes into the healthcare system, he really does clean up all this ridiculous crap. Because when you look at United Healthcare, I think their decline rate's higher than everybody, like it's 62, 63%. So, I think these companies also forget that you, meaning people that pay the premium, those are the customers, not your stakeholders and your shareholders. Those are your customers. You need to take care of them. But because you put profit ahead of people, and that's most companies, I think what you're going to start seeing is people go, you know what? Screw you. And I think the screw you now is to a point where back in the day, they, write a nasty letter, you go to court. Now I think it's going to be, that's not going to get me anywhere. You know what's going to get me somewhere? And I think I'm hoping we don't come to that, but it almost looks like we're on the brink of it.
The crazy,
well, let's put some profit before anything else.
Get the freedom and the flexibility of remote work in the lucrative tech industry. Bend your life around the world. Bandicoot is the premier course and community for thriving in a remote tech career. Join the revolution today. Bandicoot.com, official partner of the Lost Dollar Business Club.
Hey, that's cool. Very nice. John, we're going to do Lost and Found soon. We're going to let you go first because you are leaving for 2 months to go hunt Nazi gold. Okay. Michael, what are we doing next Friday? Do we have a guest or is it just you, I, and Mr. David?
It's just us on the last, I mean, at least for me, the last show of the year.
That'll be the last show of the year. Okay, and then we'll come up with a topic for next Friday for the fans. So we'll talk about something. So we won't be back until when, Michael?
Then we'll be back on January 10th.
Oh, so we're not going to come back on the 3rd.
Oh, maybe the 3rd. All right, we'll come back on the 3rd. We'll come back.
All right, so we're going to be back January 3rd. Next Friday is our last show, which will be the 20th of December for the year, and then we'll be back on the 3rd of January, everybody. So there you go. So you got one more show, and it'll be without John. Big deal. Cry for the Argentina.
So let's do some Lost and Founds.
Let's do some Lost and Founds.
Ever wonder how millions vanish into thin air, or how a single dollar can make all the difference? Join us on Lost and Found, where we dive into the wild world of financial mysteries. From misplaced fortunes to unexpected windfalls, we unravel the stories of people, companies, organizations, and even governments who've lost and found millions. Lost and Found, because every dollar has a story.
All right, girls, what do we got? John, let's start with you, man. It's your last show of 2024. We won't see you until February.
Yeah.
And hopefully you'll come back with lots of Nazi gold. So what do you got?
So it's good if you're in LA.
Yeah.
You're probably very happy because they're considering a minimum wage for the LAX restaurant employees.
Yeah.
Of $30 an hour, which is
wow.
Yeah,
I mean, you still won't be able to live in Los Angeles because of the tax and everything else.
Yes,
but at least you're making $30 an hour.
So you could be making $30 an hour, which translates to about $62,000 a year if you do an eight-hour shift 5 days out of the
5 days a week.
week.
Okay.
Yeah, so not bad if they get that, but I would imagine the burgers are going to go up through the roof on that kind
burgers
of.
Burgers in LA are already expensive. There's one place I stopped that has great burgers. It's like, I don't know, $22 for a hamburger.
Yeah,
it's really good. So to me, it's worth the $22. But if I'm paying you now $30 an hour plus tip plus, I'm going to assume it's going to cost like crazy money. So there you go.
I mean, it's just good for those workers if it comes to that, but. $30 is I don't know. Is it $1? Yeah, it's $1 win for the workers if they get it. Bad for customers and the businesses. Yeah. So
Well, it could be a win for the worker, could be a win for all. Let's see.
Yeah, until they start closing down businesses and
Right,
then
because you
the
can't,
workers
people
will
can't afford to
Right.
do
The
stuff.
economy's up. Yeah.
Yeah.
I just want to say, we before we go on, we do have a fan that's asked us, do we send newsletter emails out? Unfortunately, no, we don't. Since it's a live show, because they want to know what the upcoming topics are.
Interesting.
We
Okay.
are live every Friday, so that's something we're working on. I think if you go to a page that we have, David has a calendar set up somewhere that we can put the link in. This guy goes, he would like to follow us. Well, we would like you to follow us as well.
We would love it.
Yeah, follow us, and every Friday we are live, and you'll get an email that says we're live, and you're more than welcome to suggest topics as well. There you go. We have a fan.
I do have another one though. In Chicago, the guy who is the mayor, who used to be an ex-union teacher there, they're proposing now, I think, what is it, 230 million in new tax hikes, which is, Chicago, just a crazy city, right? Just so you have a personal property tax lease that goes up from 9% to 11%. Property tax also going up. Then there's an amusement tax on streaming and tickets to live events that goes from 9 to 10%. Just amazing how they just these big city guys, even small city guys, just keep raising taxes, thinking that that's how you solve it. Dollar loss for everybody there.
Yeah.
That's it.
Okay, very cool, John. Very good. We're gonna miss you.
Good show.
So
Sure you were.
yeah. It'll be like next week. There's just something missing.
Cool.
No, everything's good. There's three of us. We're fine.
Yeah.
Mr. Mike, well, David's going to have some video, I'm sure. So, Mr. Michael, what do you have? Before you go, the fan also would like us to cover U.S. economic relations with other countries, especially Pakistan. Maybe we can do that next week.
Okay. All right.
Look, so next week's show, we're going to do U.S. economic relations with other countries. We'll use China, Pakistan, and we'll pick a third.
Okay.
We don't have to do it now. That's what we'll do next week. That'll be kind of fun. We'll do that. Let's do that next week. Yeah. So we have to do homework. That's John. Thank God you're not going to be here. So there you go. You don't have to study. So, all right, Mr. Michael, what do you have for us?
I've got a UK startup for you called Real Ice. And this Real Ice startup is deep in the Canadian Arctic, in a tiny coastal village called Nunavut. And they're pumping out seawater from below the ice pack, and then they're freezing it on the surface because they want to increase the shrinking Arctic ice, and they want to actually grow it twice the size of California. So the idea is that they're going to slow down or reverse, the ice loss that happens every summer. And in theory, then help the climate crisis. But other scientists are saying, well, that's not solving the problem. And they're saying, well, we're gonna save the ecosystem anyway. So I think it's a found dollar for all the little animals that live in the Arctic. Maybe a dollar for people actually burying it.
I like that. That's cute. Little fella. Look at you guys. You got California, nice stuff. You got Michael. I'm going to go to where I like it. Greed is good. So just so we know, the Donald Trump's election has sparks. Trading surges for banks and brokers. This is the most heavy and more business-friendly approach by the incoming administration. Everybody's wetting themselves. Wall Street trading volumes have risen to the highest levels since 2021. And they say they're going to keep going up. Schwab is coming in on themselves. They don't know what to do. So yes, the Trump administration is all excited.
So good. It's good.
Good signs for that strata of the economy.
Yeah. Well, what the gentleman wrote about said we should discuss U.S. Relations and whatever. We'll talk about, I think, BRIC next week, and we can talk about Pakistan as well, and KSA and these other countries to the U.S. But I think we need to talk about how what it looks like the Trump administration that's all going to tie to with not just our trading, but what it's going to look like to a global audience. I think it's going to be very interesting. So I think next week's show is going to be very economic heavy, which will be fun since the guy who knows economics won't be here. Yeah. So there you go. It'll just be Mo, Larry, and Curly. Talking about Curly, what's your story there, Mr. David?
What do you got, David?
Yeah, well, I've got a little ditty for you all because
I'm sure you do.
We like to be on the wave of what's happening. So I'm down with the kids and everything, and sure. I saw this and I thought, well, I have to share it because it's absolutely wicked.
There's nothing playing, Dave.
Is that a broom?
Yeah. You want to tell us what's going on here so the people on the podcast don't think they lost?
Yeah, it's a broom. It's a broom.
It's a broom for land-based witches.
Yeah, there you go.
So the broom provides propulsion for skaters, longboarders, inline skaters, quad skaters, transforming them into emphatic land-based witches. Barcelona, of course.
Yeah.
Oh, God. So okay. Anyway, so you people on the podcast, you didn't miss anything. It's just a broom trying to prostitute themselves over wicked. Unfortunately, the person wasn't green. So there you have it.
Yeah, so there you go. So if you want to have your own, if you want to get down with the kids and be wicked, you have to have your motorized broom.
That's great. That's it. Thanks for putting us to sleep.
They crowdsourced it.
They crowdsourced it. That's good. Good for them. Well, boys and girls, it's another beautiful show. Don't forget to subscribe and like. We will be back next Friday, same time, same bat channel. So if you want to watch us live and ask questions, as our one fan did, please feel free. If you have an expert that you want to have on the show, let us know, and we will have the expert come on and do your thing. And there you go. And what else did I want to say? Don't forget to subscribe and like. We will see everybody next Friday morning. John, have a happy and healthy, the best of the family, safe travels, and we'll see you in February.
See you in February, guys.
All right, everybody.
Happy.
Everybody.
Everybody.
Later.